So Omega dropped a new Aqua Terra, and keeping with their monochromatic color theme like the white dial Speedmaster earlier in the year, the kicker with this watch is it's a gloss black dial. And one of the best sarcastic comments that I've read from a fellow enthusiast about this watch, one word, innovative. And I'll admit that got a laugh out of me. But let's observe something else about this watch that I've come to nickname the Black Terra. I'll admit there are better nicknames out there, but this one works, Black Terra. And using this piece as the example, I think it epitomizes the very best and worst of modern Omega at the moment. If there is one watch that I have been looking at the most over the last 3+ years that could be considered the perfect do-it-all watch that has elegance, subtlety, sportiness, utility, all wrapped up in one package, it is the Aqua Terra. And we still don't give this watch enough credit, I don't think. Of course, it's a cult classic and has been immensely popular over the course of its life cycle. We have seen how this humble little watch that technically originated as a Railmaster has seen so many updates, changes, revisions, design evolutions over the course of its life. One thing I really enjoy about this hobby is seeing evolution, is seeing designs adapt and change, modernizing with the times. And if there is any watch out there that rivals one of the most popular watch brands in the world, Rolex with their Oyster Perpetuals, with their Datejusts, with the tremendous little Explorer, the Aqua Terra does it. Being that Omega fanboy first, this watch is cramping the Explorer's style, and I'm all here for it. Now this Aqua Terra is sharing the same format of last year's Shades collection, so for portions of this video I'll be sharing desaturated footage of these pieces because, well, Omega hasn't obliged us with any sort of rendering for this black dial variant. The easiest way to distinguish this watch from other variants out there, well, it's got a gloss dial finish, there's no teak deck patterning to it. But the easiest way is seeing the new bracelets that these models adopt. No longer a flat link style, but the links are more rounded. Folks are calling it a presidential bracelet of sorts. It's also just fantastic seeing this model launch in many different sizes, 41, 38, 34. There is a Goldilocks size for everyone out there. Now, first impressions will tell you whatever, it's just a black dial, nothing special. But time and time again, we know that simplicity always wins. And I would say that an approach like this really lets you appreciate the subtleties of an Aqua Terra dial. Notice the black date window with the white text, it's so refreshing seeing Omega do this. So let's get to why this watch is the very best of Omega. Not just one reason, there are many reasons. First, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous, there is no denying it. Elegance, sophistication, sports, finesse, plenty of other adjectives. For the first time, for me at least, it's the clarity on this watch dial that I appreciate so much. That everything is so nicely centered on the watch, that you can appreciate things that even a watch like a Rolex Explorer is lacking. Like the applied Omega logo, like the numerals printed at every 5-minute mark. These are all things we have come to know and love about the Aqua Terra, but seeing it all together now, finally presented in such a neat package, it's brilliant. I find it a laugh that some of the biggest shortcomings with the Explorer is the fact that it is incredibly simple, that it is a little bit too small for a lot of wrists, mine included, and that a 38, 37mm size is far better. The Black Terra then, in this format, it's the perfect rival, but we are not done yet. A huge element that has not been reported by any of the major publishers is that the bracelet now comes with a quick adjustment system. I believe similar to a watch like the JLC Polaris or the Vacheron Overseas, where each side of the bracelet that closes on the butterfly will have a half-link adjustment, so an easy pull-out extension. This has not been covered or highlighted properly yet, but it shows that Omega has listened to the feedback, that this one small adjustment is a game changer for the butterfly clasp of the Aqua Terra. Like I said, a watch like this is going after the Explorer, and it's one of the best examples of an Aqua Terra that I think we have seen in a very long time. In a nutshell, that is why it is the very best of Omega. They're doing what they do best. Old school design, classic inspirations, modern interpretation, addressing all the issues that we've been talking about. So then we migrate to the worst. A watch like this, it should have been made many years ago. On an aesthetics front, for those who aren't paying attention to the details, there is nothing innovative about the dial, the execution. These are all parts that we know already. The Black Terra, for all intents and purposes, it is late to this party. As much as we enjoy the simplicity and the versatility that a watch like this offers, it's also not pushing the envelope, it's not groundbreaking. And I'm not saying a watch like the Explorer is doing any of this either. It's the most basic professional watch that you can get from the brand. The 36mm design has been around since the 50s, but a piece like this has gained the reputation it has because it's just never disappeared. There has always been an iteration of it somewhere in one way or another. So we could group all of those bullet points into one section: that it's late to the party, that it's giving us the bare minimum, that it's a design that should have been around for at least 10 years at this point, and that a gloss dial is not exactly pushing the envelope. But something that really baffles me about this Aqua Terra and the Shades collection too: an all-polished finish. Why? I can, to an extent, understand the shades with the different colors, the sun-brushed finish. There is something quite nice about having that as a contrast. But a gloss black dial, simple, monotone color scheme that represents the truest utilitarian nature of a watch. This piece with a fully brushed case, bracelet, would have given it an even greater leg up next to its competition. Especially when you compare it to a watch like the Seamaster, which is being discontinued. Just that choice alone of choosing an all-polished surface for the Aqua Terra is going to alienate people. And then there's that question that roped me into this whole argument of calling it the best and worst of Omega. Where is the innovation? Okay, beyond the bracelet adjustment, the micro-adjusting system, which is brilliant. Do you remember a time a few years ago when the Aqua Terra was experiencing a renaissance period, where the design changed in a few places, the date window moved, the dial texture changed, the sizes changed, and of course the color changed? To be given a gloss black dial, this level of refinement is great, but whatever happened to the titanium case? Do you remember the ultralight? A few years ago when I saw this watch debuted, I thought it was going to be the next greatest step for this watch and the brand. Extremely lightweight, titanium cases of various kinds, grade 5, maybe even grade 23. And one of the best, I would say the greatest technological advancements that Omega has created with any of their pieces in recent years: a telescopic crown that hides inside the case. The watch costs tens of thousands that us mere mortals cannot afford, but why wasn't this technology extrapolated, taken elsewhere and improved upon? Why is it that all these years later we have not seen any of this? Picture the Aqua Terra as it is now. 38mm in diameter, let's say, gloss dial, fully polished bracelet and case. Now for a second, imagine a full gloss dial, titanium case, bracelet, grade 5, with the hidden but so well done telescopic crown system. See, what bugs me about it is that Omega can do this stuff. I love the brand for the innovations. I love the technology that goes into their work. They are not limited like so many other names are. And a piece like this from them could be seen as a magnum opus. Not just a simple change of color or a slight improvement in a few places, but a total overhaul of what the Aqua Terra could be and what it could represent. You know, with standards like that, technology like that, materials so far improved, it's no longer meeting the Explorer eye to eye like the current Aqua Terra is. It's taking the standard to an entirely new level. And this brand, well, it's capable of doing that. That is why this black dial Aqua Terra, to me, represents the very best and worst of Omega. It's getting you right there to the finish line. It's competing with fellow rivals. But it's by no means pushing the technology any further. It's by no means reconstructing, re-envisioning what this watch could be. All that said, this new model is beautiful, and I really like it. And it's definitely a rival to the Explorer, no matter what I say. Your thoughts on the Aqua Terra? I think they're going to be largely positive, barring the price. If this is the direction that Omega is going from this point on, I say I'm all for it. Enamel white dial next. And as is always the case, I'm very appreciative of you taking the time to watch this video, so thank you. And I'll see you in the next one.